Let's unpack this. We are diving deep today into a specific and genuinely intriguing report that surfaced. It's about a potential major shakeup coming this NBA offseason.
Right.
We're looking at a Los Angeles Clippers, the Boston Celtics, and All-Star guard Jrue Holiday right in the middle of it all.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those rumors that, when you first read it, it makes you stop and think, okay, wait, why is it popping up now? What's really driving this?
Exactly. And our source for this deep dive is an article from Fadeaway World. It specifically points to a report from team insider Brian Robb. So our mission today, really for you listening, is to dig into what this specific report is telling us. We want to explore why this trade rumor is even emerging, what the source suggests is driving the interest from, both sides, Clippers and Celtics, and what it could all mean for these teams, but importantly, strictly based on the material we have in front of us.
Right, exactly. We're using this article almost like a map, just trying to understand the situation as reported, helping you sort of grasp the potential nuances and the impact of this specific NBA rumor, drawing only from this one source.
Precisely. Think of it like getting the concentrated version of this particular report. So, okay, let's jump right into the core claim then. What does the Fadeaway World article, citing Brian Robb, actually state is the main thing happening?
Well, the main point is pretty direct. It says the Los Angeles Clippers are expected to be one of several teams pursuing a trade for Jrue Holiday this summer. That's basically the headline rumor this report is built around.
Okay, so positioned as an expectation, that feels a bit stronger than just pure speculation, doesn't it? Gives it a different weight in all the off-season noise.
It does.
But the immediate question then is why would the Boston Celtics, coming off a season where Holiday was pretty key, why would they even consider moving him? The source must give some, pretty big reasons for that.
Oh, it does. Yeah, the report lays out several factors that, according to this article, could push Boston towards making, quote, significant changes. And the most impactful reason cited, it's Jason Tatum's reported Achilles tear.
Wait, hang on. Jason Tatum has an Achilles tear? That's massive news. And honestly, that's the first I'm hearing about that specific injury being reported like this. The standard must really emphasize that as a critical factor.
It absolutely does. The report explicitly states that this injury puts the, I'm quoting here, franchise's entire future in doubt. And according to the source, it means the Celtics will be out of the championship running for at least the next full season. It even says they have no hope of competing without Tatum for a year.
Wow. Okay, that is an incredibly stark assessment from the source about the severity of Tatum's reported injury and its fallout. So this single reported event, this injury, is presented as pretty much the main catalyst for potential big roster moves in Boston.
Based purely on this specific report, yes, that's how it's framed, the major driver. And adding to that pressure, the source also throws in a looming second apron financial crunch for the Celtics. That's another significant factor in the reported situation.
Okay, right. So it's not just the reported devastating injury, but also these financial realities apparently making things even more complicated. How does the source connect those two things, the injury and the money, back to veteran guys like Jrue Holiday?
Well, the report suggests that because of this whole difficult reported situation, the severe injury impact plus the financial constraints, older veteran players like Jrue Holiday and Al Horford, quote, may overstay their welcome. That's the phrasing the source uses. The article notes that even though Jrue might have thought he'd found a, quote, permanent home after his time there, the report suggests he's now actually expected to be pursued by several teams on the trade market, specifically because of Boston's reported circumstances.
I see. So the convergence of potentially losing their superstar for a season, as reported, and these tough financial mechanics that could reportedly force Boston's hand with veterans, even valuable ones like Holiday, despite what he brought. And if they were reportedly willing to trade him under these circumstances, the source is clear. They're going to want a, quote, lucrative package back for him.
Right. That paints the picture, according to this report, of Boston's potential motivation.
Yeah.
Now let's flip it. Why might the Clippers be so interested and reportedly willing to pay up?
Well, the Clippers, they had an interesting season, as the source points out. Won 50 games, which is solid, no doubt, but then, quote, fell short of a deep playoff run, losing in the first round to Denver.
Yeah, respectable regular season, sure, but that postseason result, according to this report, it kind of highlighted that they still need something else, something more to really contend. The source says they want to stay in the title mix for next season, but clearly still have some moves to make before they can contend for the title.
And the article gives this interesting little bit of context about their past moves. It says they reportedly felt okay letting Paul George walk after winning those 50 games because it allowed James Harden and Kawhi Leonard bigger roles without a streaky or unavailable co-star to hold them back. That's quite a specific take from this source on their thinking.
It is. It maybe gives us a glimpse into their recent strategy, how they view their core players. And building on that, the report then explains why Holiday would be appealing in that context. Adding a veteran point guard with his specific profile, quote, would work wonders for them, according to the source.
Would work wonders. That's pretty strong, positive language used in the report.
Yeah.
And because they reportedly see him as potentially that important, the source suggests they may be willing to pay that price, that lucrative package Boston reportedly needs, if it means pairing Holiday up with Kawhi Leonard and James Harden.
Yeah, that really sums up the reported logic from the Clippers side. They see him as potentially transformative for their championship hopes next season. And based on this report, that could justify a pretty significant cost.
Let's just step back for a sec. What specifics does the source actually give us about Jrue Holiday himself? Like, for you listening who might not follow every single player super closely, what are the key things highlighted here?
Okay, yeah. The article describes him as a 15-year NBA veteran, currently listed as 34 years old, and he's widely known, according to the source, as one of the best two-way guards in the league.
Best two-way guards. Okay, so elite on both offense and defense. That kind of player is incredibly valuable, isn't it? Especially for a team trying to win it all, looking for impact beyond just scoring points.
Absolutely. And the report actually gives his specific stats from this past 2024 season with the Celtics. It says in 62 games, he averaged 11.1 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 3.9 assists per game. Shot 44.3%.
Those are, solid, well-rounded numbers. But like you said, that two-way reputation suggests his real value goes way beyond just the box score, right? Particularly on D.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And the source really leans into his championship background, his pedigree. He's reported to have played a key role in the Celtics' 2024 championship. And before that, he was an all-star with the Milwaukee Bucks, helped them win their title in 2021. The report even adds the detail that he only left Milwaukee because he was part of that big Damian Lillard trade. Just highlights his status.
Yeah.
A guy top teams want.
That championship experience, winning with two different teams, that's a really crucial detail the source provides. It suggests he knows what it takes when the pressure is highest. That's probably a huge part of his reported appeal to a team like the Clippers, trying to finally get over the hump.
It certainly seems like it. And like with any big potential trade, the report doesn't skip the money side. It includes that crucial detail about his contract, mentioning his, quote, expensive 3-year, $103 million contract.
Okay. So Boston reportedly wants a lucrative package, and acquiring Holiday means taking on an expensive contract. Those are the financial realities, per the source, that kind of frame this whole potential deal. Makes it complicated.
They're definitely the core pieces that make a trade like this complex, yeah. And despite all the potential upside of adding Holiday that the report outlines, the source does include a note of, let's say, uncertainty for the Clippers. It states that whether adding him would be enough to give them an edge over the Thunder or Lakers remains to be seen.
Right, that adds that necessary dose of reality, doesn't it? Even a player of Holiday's reported caliber might not guarantee success against the really tough competition in the West, according to this source.
Exactly. But then the report kind of contrasts that uncertainty by highlighting the reported mindset within the Clippers organization, specifically owner Steve Ballmer. It says they, quote, will never give up as long as Kawhi is healthy. They apparently believe he can lead them to a championship. And Ballmer is, quote, committed to doing whatever it takes to help them get there.
Yeah, that says a lot about the reported drive inside that organization. As long as Kawhi is seen, according to the source, as that potential championship guy when he's healthy, the team is reportedly willing to make big, potentially costly swings to maximize that window.
It really paints a picture of a front office and ownership just determined to explore every single option to contend while their main guys are there, which lines up with the reported pursuit of someone like Holiday, right?
It does. And just for a little extra bit of context from the Fadeaway World article itself that we're using, it's maybe worth noting this specific rumor about Holiday wasn't just presented on its own. It was actually placed within a larger piece titled 8 Perfect Targets for the Los Angeles Clippers in 2025 offseason.
Ah, okay. So that frames this potential Holiday move, according to the article, not as some isolated idea, but as maybe one potential path among several the Clippers might be looking at, part of a bigger reported offseason strategy discussion.
Exactly. That's helpful context just from the source article itself. So, okay, pulling everything together from this one report we've dived into, we have the core claim. Clippers expected to pursue Jrue Holiday. The reported drivers for Boston potentially trading him, per the source, are huge. That significant reported blow of Tatum's Achilles injury, plus a looming financial crunch. That combination might push them to move veterans.
Right. And the Clippers' reported interest, based on this article, it stems from wanting to stay in that title conversation after falling short this past season. Seeing Holiday as that veteran point guard who would work wonders next to Kawhi and Harden, and being potentially willing to pay that reported lucrative package price to get him.
We also got those key details on Holiday himself strictly from this report. Seasoned vet, top two-way guard, his recent stats, that really important championship history with two teams, and of course, the note about his expensive contract.
Yeah, it provides a pretty clear, although, specific to this report, view of the whole situation.
Absolutely. And looking at rumors like this, based entirely on one specific source, it really helps you appreciate the complex strategic thinking and the huge pressures NBA teams are reportedly under, especially in the offseason, right? As they navigate injuries, money, and that constant push to build or rebuild a contender.
Yeah, it definitely gives you a window into the kind of high-stakes math, the constraints these teams are reportedly working with.
It really does. So, thinking strictly and only based on the details presented in this report we've discussed, the claim that the Celtics will reportedly demand a lucrative package for Holiday, and the note that the Clippers might be willing to pay the expensive price to pair him with Kawhi and Harden, aiming to contend. Here's something for you listening to maybe chew on. What kind of actual assets could the Clippers realistically offer? Thinking about players and picks they might theoretically have available, even though this source doesn't name them. What could they offer that would satisfy Boston's reported need for that lucrative return, but still leave the Clippers themselves with enough talent around Kawhi and Harden to actually be that competitive team the source says is their goal? It feels like a really, really tight needle to thread, doesn't it?
It really does. It raises that critical question about just how practically feasible a trade like this, as reported, would even be, given the reported costs and the apparent needs from both sides outlined in this article.
Definitely something to keep in mind as the offseason starts to unfold, all based on reports like this one surfacing.